Welcome in, y'all. I always got to check and make sure my mic's on. I'm too fidgety, and this thing is very sensitive, and I've muted it a lot. But not today, y'all. Not today. I was about to say happy what day of the week it is, and I don't even know. It is Monday. I second guess myself. That is one of the wild things about entrepreneurialism. One of the things that I noticed real quick is you get outside of the structure of a Monday through Friday, your work schedule, your work week, you having certain deadlines, certain things, Monday meetings, always in the back or the front of your mind of, oh, tomorrow I've got this because I've got to see that person. So there's that constant warning trigger going on having a boss. But when you are your own boss, the dedication to structure and discipline, the demand and the need for that is much higher. So I was about to say, like, happy Thursday, y'all. I'm a little out of touch. And especially when your kids are now homeschooled, which mine are now as well. We're just de-systemizing. Is that a word? That's a word today. It's a Monday. This our entire family, man. And raising up entrepreneurs, raising up world changers, and those who think outside of the box, y'all. And that's what we're doing here. Welcome to the live with TM. Y'all, I am huge and big, okay, about chat, about communication. So I don't care if you're on here for 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Drop me a shout out. Hey, we're trying to build this community, okay? I'm wanting to build a community, man, a page, a group of people who are connected and linked together under one purpose, and that is to elevate their lives, their personal lives, their spiritual lives, their relational life, their financial life, their mental health, their physical health. Every single category, every single one of those things are connected. And one of the biggest things I've learned is when one of those are falling, it will begin to slowly and at times swiftly begin to eradicate and affect everything else that's connected. Because a lot of times we want to see it, we want to try to compartmentalize our mental health, and it's asinine or crazy to think that at some point is not going to show up in our relationships, that it's not going to show up if you're at school, those things aren't going to show up in your financial literacy, your financial health, if your physical health, which is something that I've been on a journey on since the beginning of this year. And I'm continuing that climb of wanting to look back in the mirror and see my 20-year-old self, and have a conversation with him, have a talk with him, put an arm around his shoulder and let him know, I know you're hurting, but you're going to be all right. You got a beautiful family that's coming. You just hold on. And so God is good, man. But hey, drop me a shout out. Okay. Drop me a shout out. And I'm already knowing what I'm having to do right now because did this last time with my live, especially on Facebook. YouTube, what's up, YouTube fam? We're new there. Hey, we're trying to grow this YouTube community. I'm a lover of God. What I'm going to be bringing on here is kingdom principles, kingdom coaching for you guys, helping you elevate your life. Anything that I could do to be an impact to you so that you can be an impact in your community, in your friendships and relationships, so you can be light and salt. Wherever God sends you, he's never sending you there on accident. There's always an intent and a purpose with where God is placing you. You can have an impact on somebody else's life. You can be an impact on the people that are around you. Matter of fact, your purpose is to have an impact on the people around you. All right, let me check real quick. Always want to check Facebook as well. All right, I think we're good. Audio's good. Good to go. Welcome, y'all. All right, we up and out there. Y'all, give me some love. Let me know what you guys got going on this week, where you're watching from, okay? Please, let's make it loud and rowdy. I don't come on here, y'all, I want to talk to myself. I want to talk to some people. I want to know how your week's going. Drop something in the chat. I'm going to drop something in the chat real quick. I'm going to put a question down. Maybe it'd be a good starter question for us this week. All right, y'all. Put that up there on Facebook. Okay. Let me make sure. Double check the audience. We're public. We're live. All right. Let me share this real quick. Let's go. There we go. There we go. We're out there. We're out there, y'all. All right. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. So let that be a good conversation starter. Okay. I've got that out there. All right. What's something that you guys have been struggling with maybe this week or this weekend? And I think the biggest part of that is, how do you plan to overcome it? How do you plan to overcome it? And I think that's a perfect segue for what I wanted to talk about. And I'm going to be jumping onto this live and be talking about is the necessity of transformation. The necessity of transformation in our lives. It's one thing to admit we're having a struggle, and I hear this a lot from and I know you guys could resonate with this as well, that's just the way they are, or this is the way my family's always been. Well, it's what I was raised around. It's what I grew up with. It's the culture. It was my family life. It's why I talk like this. It's why I think this way. It's one thing to state a fact about something and to acknowledge that there's reasons we have certain tendencies of why we think a certain way, why I respond a certain way, why some of us may have issues with road rage and traffic, right? Why some of us can snap off much quicker and easier than other people can. Why other people have more patience and are more gracious than other people. And a lot of times we just want to look at those people and think, well, they're only easier with that because if they would have had the upbringing that I had. And while our upbringing and our surrounding and our environment certainly plays a factor in what is shaping us, in what is transforming us, right? Let me get this off real quick. I want this to stay on. There we go. In what is transforming us and what is shaping us. To stop there and just say, well, this is the way I'm just going to be for the rest of my life, as if there is no hope for transformation, is the thing I want to crush with you right now, okay? That's the thing that I want to nail down and let you know. And yes, come on, trickle in, look at you a little bit closer, okay, in the face and say, you can change. Not only can you change, you should be transforming. And you may have never had somebody that's looked at you and said that. Because a lot of times, here is the subconscious way of thinking, right? We grow up, we don't know what in the world is going on. We don't know what life is, right? We're just brand new being. We don't know what's going on. We're having to be fed, burped. Now we're learning how to walk, crawl. Let's fast forward. We're coming into school. Bam. And we're immediately being shoved all this information. They're telling us to memorize facts. They're telling us to memorize these things. This is what makes you smart. And so many times we are told what to memorize and not necessarily what and how to think. You just memorize all these things and you'll get a good grade. And we're graded not only from a completely broken system for things, for the most part, that are not ever going to really help you evolve in life. But there's such a systemic pressure that comes on us, especially at such an early age. And especially for those people who have an entrepreneurial mindset at an early age, they're shunned out, looked as those they're ostracized. They're the ones that are cast away into the corner. And you've heard it probably said, if you watch any sort of YouTube stuff about entrepreneurialism and anything else about, millionaires and their mindsets and CEOs, that most of them struggled, not all of them, but struggled with the concept and the idea of school because of the framework of it, in that it was limiting. That you're telling me what to think and you're just shoving it down my face. And if I bring any sort of other option, a creative option, or thinking outside of the box, or having a different way of looking at something, you're put the old, like the old school, the dunce hat, sit in the corner. You just do what I tell you to do, and don't give me your thoughts. And so what I want to do here in this community, at the place with TM, y'all, by the way, okay, the place with TM community, you guys go ahead and join our community. Let me go ahead and just throw this out there. If you are looking to, and I would recommend, if you are looking to level up your life, if you're tired of the status quo, and here's the thing, without intentional action, your life 5 years from now is most likely going to look the same. And you have to ask yourself, are you okay with that? Are you okay with being at the same place in the same career 5 years from now? Are you okay being in the same company but not have elevated or gotten a raise or gotten that promotion or gotten that position 5 years from now? It's going to take intentional action. Are you okay with some of you out there maybe still being single 5 years from now? Some of you said yes, amen, hallelujah. I heard that. Okay. I get that. Are you okay with your relationships 5 years from now? It's going to take some intentional action. Are you okay with where you're at physically? And here, I think, is one of the biggest things, especially physically, spiritually, mentally. We think that without intentional action, if we just coast, that there's not going to be a fall off. And I promise you, if you're not planting seeds, you are not reaping a harvest. And your body, especially as you get older, and even mentally, if you are not feeding it the right nutrients, if you are not increasing and adding to and being intentional with your thoughts, going to the gym, starting to eat better, even if it's in small increments, walking every day. Listen, I'm not expecting and asking you to do this massive overnight just transfer. Now, for some of y'all, for me, that's what it took. Listen, for me, that's what it took. I attempted 75 hard when I hadn't been in the gym in years. I had worked my way up about a month and a half, slowly building my body up. And I said, you know what? I just need something. I want my life to be shocked. I need to shock my muscles. I need something to wake me up out of slumber. And it got me to a point to where I injured my back, and I'm still going through that now. And I'm going to be going to the doctor this week. Pray for your boy, going to get MRI. But we're still progressing. This is not stopping me. This is just another part. This is a speed bump. It's another part of the climb that I'm going up, that I'm going to be getting my back right, and I'm taking all the right nutrients and everything and all the stuff. Okay, but listen, if you are wanting to grow, if you are wanting to elevate your life, one of the fastest ways that you can accelerate that, and one of the healthiest ways you can do it, is through community. I say this all the time. The lasting way for consistency is always connected to community. It's always going to be getting around as your life is going up. Your circle should shrink and get smaller, because you can't be around the same Joes and Smos are going to pull you down as they always have been, and keeping you on the same status quo. Because how many of y'all know when you're wanting to elevate your life, when you're wanting to elevate your thinking, your speech, your way of living, just the way that you carry yourself, there's that awkward moment where you're old buddies, old pals, old friends, there's an awkwardness there, because there's no longer, you're losing the relatability factor. You're in good hands, okay? It's meant to be that way. So join our community. If you guys see that link right now, hit that link, you guys. Join our community. There's going to be a lot of creative courses that are going to be going on inside. They're going to help you elevate your life financially, spiritually, in ways of business, you guys, that are transforming me and my family's life, that we were struggling, working multiple jobs, door dashing, Ubering, working bank jobs, ministry, doing every single thing we can, understanding with 5 kids, the importance of being able to, yes, not only pay your bills, okay, but to be able to plan for the future, to be able to take that vacation, to be able to spend your debit card at the grocery store and not be wondering in the back of your mind, man, do I really have enough for what? we're finally being able to be free with that, but it took intentional action. It took us thinking outside of the box of what we were always used to. You've got to get to a place of desperation that says, I'm willing to do whatever it is at all cost, financial, mental, physical, because what else do I have to lose? And you know what? What starts out as a scary place being there turns out to be the thrill of a lifetime, because when you get backed into the wall enough, the lion and the tiger starts to come out within you guys. So if you want to join a community of other lions, if you want to join a community of other tigers, click on the link. It's going to take you to the place. Subscribe, join in with us, okay? We're going to be doing weekly and monthly seminars, live Q&As, discussion points. My light just went out. I don't know why. Oh, no. It's dead. Join the community. Y'all hit this thing. I'm going to plug this thing in real quick. Stay on. We back, y'all. We back. All right. We back. Join the community. Join the community. There's not a moment in my life that I can't go back to a certain point where I realize my life elevated, that I can't go back and point to a person that God sent me or a group of people that God placed me in that helped shift my life and bring the transformation. Maybe shift me from something in ways that I was going down a path that I probably shouldn't have. Helped me grow in ways to where they had information and they had knowledge that I simply didn't have. And I had to humble myself and realize I don't know it all. And then be humble and vulnerable enough to ask the questions. Guys, there's never such a thing as a stupid question. So no matter how far low you are in life, you feel that you are, and you just feel behind. I know what it feels like to feel behind. I know what it feels like to be kind of like the sophomore in high school. Follow me on this path here, but still feel like you're in sixth grade and you're sitting around everyone else and you feel like it's so awkward. I should have progressed in life. I feel stuck. Guys, this is why I created this community. I created this community for those who feel stuck. They know that they've got something bigger. You know you've got something more to give. You know you've got something more. You want to live life with intentionality and with purpose. I'm telling you, join this community. I want to see you guys on the other side, okay? We're going to see y'all there. We're going to see y'all there. All right, y'all. Let's hop on into this. Let's hop on into this. All right. We out here. We out here. All righty, guys. For those of y'all on my YouTube community as well, again, what's up? Be live in the chat. Be live in the chat. Ask me any questions you guys got. Any questions you guys have. All right. Just keep it clean. Keep it nice, y'all. I know it's the internet out here. We like to be wild. You like to be internet warriors hiding behind a keyboard. Come on, man. Be nice. All right. Be nice, man. Be bigger than that. Have character. Be cool. Okay. No one likes douchebags. Yeah, I said that. All right. All right. Welcome to the live place with TM. All right, you guys. Hey, listen. Again, if this is your first time as well, coming on, hopping on with me. Welcome on in. Trickle in. Okay. But right now, you guys, we are talking about the necessity of transformation. And I've got six steps that I simply want to share with you on what the transformation process and the things that we need to do in our lives for understanding why it's important to transform. And the intentionality, again, you guys, that goes along with that, okay? Number one, guys, note takers change the world, okay? Here we go. First thing you've got to do, here's what it starts with: acknowledge. Recognize your need for change. We have to acknowledge our weaknesses. We have to acknowledge that we have limitations. We have to acknowledge that I've got needs and areas in my life for growth. Acknowledgement opens the door for transformation. Acknowledgement opens the door for transformation. Smeagol, what's going on? Y'all have to, you would have to been there. You would have to have been there. Smeagol says hi. What's going on, Crystal? Hey, Crystal, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in, Crystal. What's going on? What's going on? It starts with acknowledging. I've got to be open and humble enough to realize that the me 3 years ago is not going to be able to walk through the door that God has for me 3 years from now. That within this path and even in the realm of grace as a believer, he's given us his spirit, not for us just to get goosebumps, not for us to go to church, hear a good word, and then walk out and then never apply that or never, and always think, y'all know, y'all go to church with those people that they always think that word or that message is for somebody else, but never their own butts that's sitting in the seat. Right? So here's one thing that you can begin to do when you're opening eyes to acknowledging. Acknowledge that the word is for you. Always, whether you think it doesn't apply to your life or not, okay? Whether you think that this chat that we're talking to right now doesn't apply to you or not, humble yourself, all right? And understand that, listen, because a lot of us, it's what happens. I know more than this dude. Who does this guy or woman or man or whoever think he or she is? Who do they think they're talking about? Okay. We can have those blockers. We can have those blockers that we think that we don't need to acknowledge that I've got. And I've been around those people, y'all. And it is impossible to ever have a conversation with them. Because no matter what you bring up, right, they're the type of people, that always think that they've got the answer. So they don't ever need to hear like your opinion on anything. And you can tell that they're not really listening to you. They're just waiting so they can add their rebuttal. Oh, you went through that. See, that's not really how you're supposed to do it. And I wouldn't do it like that because that didn't really work. It's just like, they're always just going to point at something that you've done that you should be doing. It's like, okay, man, all right, sweet. We've got to acknowledge that I need, and it's so simple. This is what I love about it. Transformation is not for the special group of people. Transformation is not for those who just had an easy growing up life. Didn't really have that. Didn't have a horrific, but I went through a lot of stuff as well. So at the end of the day, I've got to get over my victim mentality because you guys, everybody's got a story and there's always going to be a story that's worse than yours. But what are we going to do? Sit and cry in the corner for the rest of our lives or wipe the tears away, admit what happened, acknowledge what happened and say, okay, I've got to take back the reins and control of my life. I can't let what that person did for me control and hurt and continue to damage my future and the purpose and plan and destiny that God has for me. It's one of the most exhilarating feelings you'll ever feel in your life is when you start to begin to take back the authority that God designed for you to have. And it starts with acknowledging our need for transformation and that it's on me. I can't put it off on my wife. I can't, my God, put it off and blame my kids. I can't blame my coworkers. I can't blame the friends. Watch this. I can't blame the lack of finances or the lack of schooling that maybe some of us, you feel like you weren't set up for the greatest success. But if you look and you watch a lot of the stories of those who found their definition of success, what many deem success, okay, CEOs, multimillionaires, those who started businesses, those who started foundations and enterprises and charity organizations and said, listen, okay, they actually turned their trouble into a triumph. They turned it into a testimony, their struggle into their success story, and said, I want to help those who were like me, who felt alone, who were abused, who weren't raised in the greatest of families, who feel like they've been abandoned by everybody that ever came in their life, who constantly feel like pain has been their message. You can turn your pain into somebody else's promise. You can use the very weapon that came against you to fight off the enemies that are coming against other people. So we are completely without excuse when it comes to this idea that transformation is for those who have never went through anything and were fed with the silver spoon in their mouth. And let me tell you actually something, a lot of times it's actually harder for those because they're used to the comfortability. So there's a balance there, right? Even me as a parent, I'm not, just because I'm homeschooling my kids, I don't want to shield them so much from the realities of life. So we are intentionally, the things that we're wanting to teach to my kids. And again, I talked about it, y'all. I'm going to throw it out there again. Our community. The things that I'm wanting to teach, and I'm going to be bringing other people in on lives and on podcasts and on Skypes and live events, pastors and let me make sure my life, pastors, you guys, and other and therapists and doctors, guys. I've got a whole lineup, people from all sorts and walks of life who will be able to impact and bring wisdom and bring knowledge and bring a different perspective with the vulnerability of their story that shows that they can do it, then you who's watching me right now can finally believe the words when Jesus said, he who believes anything is possible, that you can say to this mountain, be removed, and it's going to obey you. Not because you were smart enough, not because you arrived and somehow you felt like, because so many times we're waiting on life to happen for us before the transformation hits, instead of us being on the aggressive, being on the action and saying, I'm not waiting anymore. God's given me every single thing that he's given within me. He's seated me in heavenly places with Christ. I'm forgiven. I'm redeemed. What else does he need to do? Because many times we're waiting on God when really he's like, I'm waiting on you to receive and to take hold of what I've already given you access to. So it starts with acknowledgement, and it also starts with joining the community. All right. Guys, I'm telling you, you want to change your life. You find the right people. And if it's not my community, that's cool, but don't stay in the shadows. I've lived in the shadows. And it's some of the greatest place of frustration that the enemy wants to bring isolation. But if it's even the Lord today simply using me in this time and in this moment just to go for it, what do you have to lose? But I promise you've got everything to gain. And some things you have to lose, you need to lose those things. You need to lose the circle of friends that are around your life. What if you lost that depression? What if you lost that anxiety that always cripples your mind? Get connected to light. Get connected to life. Get connected to people, the right people. Transformation begins with acknowledging our need for it. Dietrich Bonhoeffer said this: we must be ready to allow ourselves to be interrupted by God. But I've got my plan, man. I've got my plan for my life. And I've got all this written out, and I just, I don't need anything else. And sometimes we can actually get so hyper-focused that we negate our need for faith. And it says in Proverbs that many are the plans in a man's heart, but watch this, it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. And he's not saying that we shouldn't be organized, have a structure about our life, that again, living life a lot of times with intentionality is going to have a sort of structure. There is an order to his beauty, but it's not for the perfectionistic sake, which a lot of times is rooted in anxiety and mistrust. I've got to have everything always the way it's supposed to be, because if it's not the way I like it, I'm going to shatter and break. There's a beauty to his order. There's a flow to his order that brings peace. We got to allow the interruptions of life by God. And a lot of time God interrupts our life to acknowledge weaknesses in our life. And he did that with me in the beginning of this year when I'm looking at the mirror and I'm realizing I'm going to turn 40 in a couple of years. And I'm like, I don't want to see the same person who I know is beaten down at times by shame, by remorse, by regret. And I said, you know what? It's not going to happen. I'm going to fight like hell. I'm going to do whatever I've got to do. I'm going to join with people. I'm going to get vulnerable. Whatever it takes. And you've got to get to that place in your life of that whatever it takes mentality, because that's when transformation happens. I said this on one of my last lives. There is a tenacity to transformation. There's a tenacity to transformation. And some of you just need to get with people that got a little bit of life and spark. You need a coach. Instead of that person who always empathizes with your pain. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I know. You feel so bad. Oh, and they hug you, which is good. Don't let that stop there. I recognize you're hurting. I recognize you've been through hell. I recognize you've seen some things. But it's time to get up. You can't sit and stay wounded the rest of your life. God's got too much for you. Yes, you. Get up. That's what the Holy Spirit told me. He said, get up. He said, prepare. I'm gonna talk to you. He said, I'm gonna be a coach to you. I'm gonna sound a little bit different to you. But he knew I needed it. I was actually craving a coach. And some of you are craving a coach. Join the community, y'all. I'm telling you, join the community. You're gonna get linked up with other people. The right people. Join the community. If you got any questions about it, hit me up, okay? Hit me up. But number one, guys, acknowledge. We got to acknowledge our need for transformation. Again, we're talking about the necessity of transformation. We have to acknowledge that we need it. We have to acknowledge, yes, that we need it. Second thing, guys, is we've got to then, once we have acknowledged, like, okay, I realize that it's on me. I realize that I got to grow. I realize there's some areas of my life that I've got to shift. I've got to put some work in. I've really got to be intentional with action. So number one, we got to acknowledge. And then number two, we got to adjust. You got to adjust. Because now life's going to start to look different. And so it's going to be a little awkward at first. And I never remember the first time that I went back into the gym towards the beginning of the year. And I grew up working out, being physical, going into the gym, used to know all the forms, the sets, making sure you're doing it with the right posture, the right way, how many reps for all the things, right? But everyone knew there, and including me, this boy ain't been in the gym in a while. This boy ain't been in the gym in a while. It took me a little bit of time to remember. So I acknowledged that I needed to get into the gym. And some of you, whatever, if it's the physical gym, the spiritual gym, the mental gym, the relational, the financial gym, some of the 5 areas of life, right? Very important. You're back in that gym. You're acknowledged. You're in it. There's now going to be an adjusting point, changing our mindset and habits, adjusting your life. Your thoughts are going to change. Your body physically is going to feel it. There's going to be a momentary strain and struggle. That means a lot of times that it's working and that you're growing. Don't see the struggle as a sign of failure. There's going to be pain and growth. There just is. Because your life got used to a certain way of thinking. You got comfortable. And this is what's crazy, even addicted at times to that victim mentality, to the depression. You got comfortable and used to internally beating yourself up or allowing other people to talk to you a certain way. But now that you've acknowledged, I'm not going to let that happen anymore. I'm no longer going to be manipulated. I'm no longer going to be controlled. I'm no longer going to let people talk to me like that because I'm no longer talking to myself like that. There's going to be an adjusting period. And it's in this moment that the very beginning that actually usually makes or break people. Philippians 3:13-14, guys, says, forgetting what is behind and I love this word right here, straining towards what is ahead. I'm an Oklahoma Sooner fan. We lost this weekend. We're not going to talk about it. Our defense, I don't care. Shut them down. We have a phenomenal defense, but our offense is another story. But our coach V, I love it. He talks about the strain. A lot of coaches use this word. A lot of coaches talk about the strain that it takes for success, that you're putting in the sweat, that down to the smallest of technique, that you are obsessed with the process, that there's always going to be an adjusting in every practice, that you can't ride on the laurels of your past successes of last week. It's a new week. And that could be a good thing, especially if you lost last week. It's a new day. And for some of you, you lost yesterday. Today's a new day. You feel like you lost today. Okay, what are you going to do now with the next 30 minutes? So if you fall forward. How do you do that? You learn and you adjust from your failures. What made me trip up? How can I not put myself in that situation again? How can I shift some things in my life, adjust some things in my life now that I've acknowledged I'm on a new path? Is it some friendships you need to remove? Is it some books that you need to start reading and start reading again? Is it a new journal to help organize your life? Yo, I just bought this one, Daily Kairos. I'm usually not really been a journal type person, but one of the new things, and I felt the Lord told me one time in getting into all this, he said, and I want y'all to write this one down. Remember this one, tweet it out. New seasons demand new structures. New seasons demand new structures. What worked for me, or what was maybe even killing me, what I had the structure last year, wouldn't work in the season and stuff, especially the things that we're doing right now. Homeschooling our kids, both of us, me and my wife, working from home, entrepreneurial jobs. It's demanding a higher level of accountability. It demands a higher level of integrity. That the things I'm preaching to you, I really got to make sure and know that I'm living. So I have the full confidence to come up here and say to you, I know the process and I'm obsessed with the process of growth and of transformation. And I can talk to you about the gym, and I can talk to you about mental health, and I can talk to you about spiritual health, and I can talk to you how to get out of a hole financially, because these things we have done and are doing. And this race never ends. We had to adjust our life. And so many of us look at the position and the places that other people are in, and we get envious and we get bitter, and we don't want to admit it. We don't want to say it, and we get frustrated. But we're not willing to adjust. Many people want the view of the mountain, but they don't want the climb. I heard it said on a podcast once as well. I hope I don't want to butcher this. He said this. I think it was Chris Williamson on his podcast. He had a quote from this guy. I can't remember what his name was, but said, "Many people are jealous, and a lot of people get jealous of what you have, but not." I'm going to butcher this, but not how you got it. But not essentially, not what it took to get to that place. They wanted the trophies. They didn't want the trouble. They wanted the success. They didn't want the sweat. They didn't want the surrender. What are you unwilling to adjust that you know is crippling you? I think it's time to remove that thing. I know it is. So, number one, you guys, the necessity of transformation, all right? You're looking to transform your life. You got to want to acknowledge your need for it and acknowledge that it's lifelong. There is no finish line. There is no finish line. We acknowledge, all right, I've acknowledged it. Now I've got to adjust my life and I got to be willing to do whatever it takes. I have that goal in mind. Philippians again said, forgetting what is behind me. Yesterday's dude, that he ain't serving me. Yesterday's gone. What do I got to do today? And straining towards what is ahead. I press on towards the goal to win the prize for which God has called me in Christ. I'm straining. Whatever I got to do to adjust my life to make it happen. You're partnering with God to see his promises come to pass in your life. Number 3, you got to align. We have to align our thoughts, our actions, and our intentions with God's will. Get into alignment. So one of the things that I've done and am doing right now in my life, it's kind of a little bit on pause right now because I've got a potential injury to my neck, so I've got to get an MRI, blah, blah, blah. But I know I'm going to be going back and seeing it through is chiropractic, going to a chiropractor, getting my neck and my spine into proper alignment for health. And a lot of times we don't get into alignment because we want the quick gains. We want the short-term successes, right? We live in America. This is the culture of the age. I want it now. I want it fast, in a hurry. I have no time. We're impatient, right? Microwave success, okay? Because it's the underlying things that we don't see. I don't see the curvature of my neck and spine until I got the x-ray and found that it's bent the other way. And that it's going to take time because watch this, my posture, doing certain things in life, whether it was playing the guitar or just horrible posture and hunching over certain things, I trained my spine for a certain posture that was unhealthy for me. Kermit the Frog moment right there. And many of us have trained the posture of ourselves, have trained it in a way that is bent and that is crooked. And God's wanting to get your life back straight. He says he makes the crooked paths straight. He's wanting to get your life into alignment with his will. Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Philippians 2:5 says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ. Have the same mindset, being transformed by the renewing of our mind. We get into alignment when we transform the way that we think and how we think about ourselves. Dallas Willard said this, the most important thing in your life is not what you do, it's who you become. So success and alignment is not just, oh man, look at this person, look at this girl, look at this dude. They've got a lot of money. They must be doing it right. Maybe not. You could take a quick look at Hollywood and find that ain't the end goal. I've arrived. And it's a sad thing. Some of the greatest of the greats in many areas, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Whitney Houston, Robin Williams, drugs, death, suicide, sadness, depression. They had the fame. They had the fortune. They were on top of their game. So we can't just look at the external, the things that we are seeing and not acknowledging that there are things within us that are crippling us. adjusting our life according so we can get into alignment with what God has for us and what he's wanting us to do. And I feel that. I feel that for somebody here that's going to be watching this later. Alignment. That is a word for you in this season. Alignment. He's removed certain relationships out of your life because they were crippling you and they were having conversations that you didn't know, but he did. He's aligning you with the right relationships to take you where you're really craving and the destiny and the plan that he has for you. For some of you, it's something as we think is small or subtle as your health, the food that you're eating. But we don't see that as spiritual. Oh, man. Your house is the temple of the Lord. And I promise you again, if you don't care for it, no one will. We are the stewards of our mind, body, and soul. It is up to us. And you'll begin to fall in love with the process because you'll begin to fall in love with its benefits. And it may take time, but you'll start to see that change in your body. You'll start to feel the energy come back. Your mind, watch this, heart and soul coming into alignment. This is why he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That is the alignment of God for your life. And its benefits are incredible. You feel good, and people see it as well. So we acknowledge, we adjust, we align our life. And I think this right here is one of the biggest ones, guys, is we apply the wisdom, the techniques, the strategies, the truth. We apply it into our lives. We put into practice what we are learning, whether it's from scripture, whether it's something you've learning from here right now, whether it's something you've read in a book. You know, I remember catching myself one time at the beginning of the year. You know, I'm reading, a lot of different books right now. This little small one, Don't Believe Everything You Think. I've got I'm reading like multiple books at the same time. And I caught myself one time because I had a goal of just wanting to read a certain amount of books within a certain amount of time. And I'm still pressing for that goal. But sometimes even our goals can be distractions. Here's what I'm saying, that necessarily the goal isn't the goal. I found myself just trying to get to a number, and I wasn't applying nor even comprehending what I was reading. So at the end of the day, if I read 5 books in a month, in 2 weeks, what does it matter if I don't remember any of its contents? Nor did I apply the truths of the things that I was learning. And sometimes I just feel like that's what we're doing with life because we're really obsessed with numbers. We're obsessed with data and trophies and what it looks like to everybody else. And we check it off on the list and we throw it out there on IG and Facebook and Twitter or X, YouTube, whatever. And look what I've done, right? That's why a lot of people call it fake books, social media, whatever. And we've read all the books. We did all the stuff. But if we didn't apply what we were learning, and I just read the books to read the book's sake, so I could check it off and say that I read 10 books this month, but it didn't bring any actual change or wonder or joy or a different way or a different way of thinking or looking at things. I just maybe need to put the books down and go back and maybe read one page. And that's what I did. I stopped and I think I was on chapter 6. I went back and I read one chapter a day and I just chewed on that. And I can't begin to tell you just the change because I went at a certain pace that I could apply what I was reading. And in a culture that is a hustle culture that is killing us, literally we're dying at early ages because of the stress and the anxiety to keep up with the Joneses and the lack of trust. We don't realize that it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, that we actually don't have to earn anything, but we're just stepping into what he has for us. So something the Holy Spirit said to me one time, and it's radically revolutionized my life. And it makes sense that he can say to me and say to us that his yoke is easy and that his burden is light. And he said this, he said, son, your future is not created, it's ordained. I'm not striving and straining to earn his approval so that I could be good enough, or that I myself am creating a destiny that I don't know. No, he's got the end in mind. He's the author and finisher of our faith. Abraham was persuaded that he was able to perform that which he promised. He's going to perform the promise. So what's my part? I am listening to what he's telling me to do, and I do what he says. I'm loving him with all my heart, my soul, my mind, my strength. I'm being a good steward to the best of my ability by applying his truths in my life. So I can, again, be in alignment so that when the right time comes, I've done the preparation beforehand. Because many of us are asking for things that will crush us. I've asked for things that would have crushed me because I wasn't willing to go back to, number one, acknowledge I needed change. Number two, adjust things in my life. I just wanted to point at everybody else and feel bad for myself and have a victim mentality. I wasn't willing to do the things. I wasn't willing to adjust. I wasn't willing to let go of the relationships that I knew that were hurting me. I wasn't willing to let go of the foods, the stuff that I was eating, but I wanted to look in the mirror and think the fat was all of a sudden going to fall off so it could help my back and I wouldn't have to have back surgery. I had to adjust so I can get into alignment. So, and then apply what I am learning. And again, you guys, it's one of the greatest things that we live in a day and age of such accessible information with podcasts, with YouTube, click on Google, AI with ChatGPT. You guys, information, we are without excuse when it comes to, well, I didn't know that. It's easily searchable. Okay. We have to apply what we are learning if we are wanting to see transformation. Faith without works is dead. And this is even weird to say for me, what I'm about to say. Some of you are really, really, really passionate. You're just not practical. Meaning you're not putting it into practice. You get really excited and then do nothing with it. It can start with passion, but it's got to go into practice. I can rehearse so much for the stage, but once I go on, it's time to perform, baby. Right? I've got to, it's time to do the thing. You can only practice so much. Sooner or later, it's going to be game day, and you're about to find out if you applied. Life will let you know really quick, and God will let life let you know. Even that's a part of his grace. If we get knocked on our butts and we say, God, where were you? Oh, man, are my lights already going out? Dude, no way. See, things we're learning. I'm going to have to keep these bad boys plugged in a little bit longer next time so I can get my lighting. All right, you know what the lights, that's what they're letting me know. They're letting me know, Taylor, you got to hurry. They're letting you know, Taylor, you got to hurry. All right. We got to apply. Guys, next one, then we got to adapt. We got to be willing to adapt. We got to be willing. We have to be willing to adapt. We have to be willing to be flexible. We have to be willing to be flexible and be willing and open to God's changes in our life throughout the process of transformation. Transformation requires adaptation to the new spiritual realities that are spiritual, physical, mental realities. You'll find out later it's actually all his. That are becoming available to you, that were always there, but you're now becoming aware as you are leveling up, as you are growing, as you are transforming. You're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to be willing to be flexible. You're going to have to be willing to not have as much control over the outcome. The outcome is the Lord's. The input, the work, the sweat, the surrender. That's what the Lord said to me one time. He said, there's actually things I can't do. He said, I can't make you open up my word and read it. I can't force you and make you eat the right things. I can't make you get around the right people. You have to help through the Holy Spirit. I'll knock on the door of your heart. But he's not going to control us. That's not love. We're not robotic. I can choose this day, as Proverbs says, the word life or death in the power of my tongue. He's like, choose life. Why? So you'll live. Choose life. We got to adapt. We have to be willing to be flexible because the process of transformation is not always fluid. There's going to be speed bumps. There's going to be curves, curveballs, lefts, rights. It can look like a roller coaster sometimes. I wish it sometimes were not that way. But have you ever read a book? We get excited about books that have mystery, that have the left turns, that have the things that, oh, I didn't see that coming. Man, we don't like it in our own life. But God, being the author and finisher of our faith, is writing a story, your story, that is going to be seen. And I'm telling you, for some of you, heard by, yes, millions. So the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns, realize that God is in control. Don't see that as a sign of God's absence. What if it was a sign of God's presence? What if he was using those things to shake some things out of your life? What if he was using some of those things to wake you up because you're not living up to the potential that you were designed for? And no, we just want to rebuke it, and we think it's the enemy, and oh, it's life. And no, a lot of times it's God's wake-up calls. So we just have to be flexible and be able to go with the flow. Got to be able to be willing to be flexible. Let's adapt. Rick Warren said this: God is more interested in your character than your comfort. That's why he said in the word, do not think it's strange concerning this fiery trial. Don't think, well, what is happening? No. Your faith is being proofed. It's being purified. So it can come forth, and you can come forth shining as gold. And let's hit this last point. Y'all. And then the last, and I think the most important one, is abide. Abide. John 15 says, abide in me. Jesus saying this, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. Neither can you unless you abide in me. Understand that there is a sweet, harmonious order and a balance in the kingdom of God. That while faith without our works is dead, it's the very grace that he's enabled us to even have the faith to be able to even do the works. It's by his very breath we're even here right now. So it all starts with him, and it all ends with him. And he's also in the middle of it all. We're never doing this alone. That's the comfort. That's where the joy comes. It's the joy of my salvation. That's why the joy of the Lord is our strength. It's the abiding. It's the spending time with him. It's the not putting performance above his presence. It's not even putting him on the shelf with all of our other trophies, because whom can the Lord be compared to? It's not even, and I've learned from my life, I don't even say I put God first anymore, as if I could even categorize him. He is all in all. He's the only reason why any of this exists. But I can tell you from my life, he's the only reason why I'm even probably physically sitting here with you today. Got to abide in him. Because many of us get weary along this process of transformation because you're grinding, you're sweating it out, you're doing the stuff that we forget to rest. And rest isn't just always needed for a lot of us, a day off where we're not doing anything. That's a part of it. But it's even in the work, even in the gym, there's a rest because I know I'm not doing this alone. And I love those sweet moments, man, where I've been in the gym or I've been on the job site or I'm cleaning my house. I'm doing mundane, whatever, everyday things. And he just decides to show up. And I feel him. He decides to let me know that he's there. Just gives me a little tap on the shoulder and says, I'm with you. And says, I'm proud of you. I love you. Keep going. It is his presence that is the fuel for our soul for transformation. The fuel for our soul for transformation. Guys, it's so important. It's absolutely so important to live a transformed life. To live a life where you're in constant transformation. It's what will get you out of the bed in the morning. It's what will excite you for the day to come. That even if I gain 1 step, 3 steps, 5 steps in a positive direction, watch that be a domino effect for everything else in your life. Guys, again, and I'm going to throw this up here again. If you're looking for your life to be shifted in a positive way, it's something as simple but yet as powerful. I'm telling you, it's profound in this. Join our community, guys, the place with TM. Join our community, guys. Click on this link, okay, right here. And I'm going to be putting that within the comments as well. You guys, you're looking to elevate your life. There's going to be weekly and live events. I'm going to be bringing on other guests and hosts with us from all different walks of life. You're going to elevate your mind in the financial realms and relationship realms with tips, techniques, and strategies for your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health. Guys, we're going after it all because all of it matters. A holistic approach. I want to see every single area of your life fruitful. No lack, nothing missing, nothing broken. Join our community, guys. It's real simple. Click on the link right there as well. 4 things, guys, that the community is going to do. That's just so important, guys, is you're going to connect to people. You're going to find that you're not alone, and you're going to link up with brothers and sisters that are wanting to elevate your lives. This is the culture of the community, is to connect. It's also to create. You're going to find that the creator has made you to be a creator, and there are things that are within you that are wanting to get out, to be salt and to be light and to be a testimony in the earth. Also, to cultivate, to help grow you, that your inner world is a garden and you're the gardener. And again, if we don't put that intentional action in, that you can change your life you can change your world by changing your inner world. And it's going to be happening within the community. And all of this, again, is to live a life where you can compel others to say, hey, you can get up too. You can resurrect your life too. You can resurrect those dreams too. It can happen for you. Join the community, guys. Join the community. Click on the link right here. I'll be putting it in the comments below as well. Guys, something I am phenomenally stoked. I'm telling y'all, it's all culminating. It's all culminating up for this thing. The Place with TM podcast. You guys can click this link as well. Yo, hey, help your boy. Help and show some love and show some support It helps us get exciting and more guests as I build this schedule out along, guys. We get everything rolling and going here. Click on the link, the Place with TM podcast. You guys can follow. It's going to be on absolutely every single device or app or anything that you guys use. You guys can click on this link. I'll be sure to put this in the comments as well. The Place with TM podcast is coming to a phone or a computer or a TV near you, y'all. Podcast, you guys. It's it, man. I'm so excited. The Place with TM podcast, you guys. We're going to be bringing it to you guys, and we're going to be bringing some, and I talked about this on the last live, some curious, some convicting, and some courageous conversations. I truly believe that conversations can change the world because it changes us. Conversations change the world because conversations can change you and me. And we're going to be having some unique and powerful and interesting conversations with people with all different types of backgrounds from all over the globe, literally all over the world. I am so excited for it. You guys. Thank y'all for coming. All right. The Live with TM. My lighting stuff has went out. It looks like it's getting all gray now, so I'm going to have to fix this backlighting. Thank you guys for sticking with me. This is going to be up here, sticking on Facebook as well as on the YouTube community. For those of you guys that were out there as well, go ahead and I'll put a comment in there as well. I'll put a link in that as well for my YouTube guys. I'm growing all the channels. Okay. We're growing the podcast. We're growing Facebook. Okay. We're growing YouTube. We're out there on IG and Twitter as well. You guys can go to my main profile and I got all my social links up there, but that is going to be it for now. Remember, there is always space at the Place for you. Love y'all. I'll see y'all.